College baseball was awful tame this week. Nothing major, nothing shocking. April Fools. Now, who's ready for another weekend of knockdown, drag-out brutality in college baseball? Hands up. We're talking weekend 8 today on college baseball.
Yeah, ain't no problems, that won't problem with me, no. Yeah. Let me talk to the chat. They know I was gone for a minute, had to BRB. Had to grab a couple wins, what I DID. They sleeping on the kid, I had to do it BIG. I can never be average, and they want a problem with the boy, they don't want no static. I don't need your cosign running with God. Wanna test that, tell them what's happening. Took control, run the game. Best believe I'm shining dog. Counting in my wins, yeah, I love it when they count me out. Off the leash, of the chain, boy, I've been a dog. Best believe I run the game, you know I'm in control of y'all. It's like magic, believe I want that static. Yeah, it's like magic, believe I want that static. Yeah, it's like magic, believe I want that static. Beat them up, knock them out. They really don't want no static.
Back in your earbuds, on your television screens, on your mobile devices. It's your friends from college baseball now. We're glad to be here with you to chop up what's been happening across NCAA baseball and to talk about what we have forthcoming for weekend 8. Of course, it is your friends, your regular host, starting with me, your friend, your host, her boy, Drew Wheeler. Glad to be with you, the director of amateur scouting at Prospects Live, here with my friends, starting with the gentleman who is now moved out of the middle, back in the top right of your screen as it was meant to be, as God intended. It's Mr. Josh Catlett. Josh, hello.
How's it going? I feel a lot better being back in my normal spot. This is a little more, I'm looking at myself directly under the camera on our screens now instead of over a little bit. It's very just, I feel at home.
You know, I get that. You are at home in your native spot there. Josh, it's kind of a big episode for us because the boys, if I may, are back in town. We have not all recorded together since episode.
Oh, it was before I was in Mexico, so that would be at least a month.
Yeah, so that's more than that then. So it's been a long time. Josh, I'm curious. It is April Fool's Day, April 1st, for those of you who have been living under a Chalowski for a minute. Josh, fun times. It's April Fool's. I'm not going to ask you guys about your favorite pranks or anything like that you pulled. You were telling us about one you tried to get your roommate with earlier, the old Jim Halpert coffee mug and the Jell-O trick. Very good. I'm going to go a different brand of humor, though. Who is an actor whose movies or whose shows always make you laugh? Actress, comedian?
I mean, the easy answer here, I think, is like Adam Sandler for my generation. Kevin Hart, too. I could be blanking on someone. If we're going strictly movies, like movies and TV shows, then yeah, that's it. But if we're going comedians, like, I feel like these days, people my demographic and my age, Shane Gillis is such a popular answer. That dude's just hilarious. True. He doesn't do as much like TV and movies, so it depends what you're going for with your question.
No, it's okay. I mean, you gave great responses. Good to know. In the bottom right, his usual spot, no longer on the far right, it's Mr. JB Sebastiano. Hello, JB.
Hey, how are we doing, Drew?
Doing okay. It's great to be here with you, buddy. All of you guys. It feels like a reunion. Everybody's back in their normal spots. We're all here together. Gonna chop it up. JB, same question to you, man. Who's somebody funny? Who's somebody that gets you slapping the knee?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Vince Vaughn. I really like the Vince Vaughn. Usually it's like a Vince Vaughn and like I guess like kind of Owen Wilson, like those movies where they're together are pretty funny. Like you know, Night at the Museum, Wedding Crashers, anything like that. Like they're usually kind of funny in whatever movies they're in. So Vince Vaughn specifically, I'd say. So
I saw Wedding Crashers in theaters 3 times. Paid to see that in theaters 3 times. I liked that movie a lot as a youngin. So
yeah.
I can relate. Yeah, I try. Glad to have you, JB. And in the bottom left, it is Coach Jake Bargery. Jake may look a little tired if you're watching this on YouTube. That's just because this man has been coaching his butt all the way off. Arcadia is on. Where are we at now, Jake?
We've won 11 games now. We just won a walk-off yesterday, a walk-off walk where we came back in the last inning, tied it up, and then walked with the bases loaded. But yeah, we're at 11 games in a row now, so we're rolling.
Absolutely insane and well-deserved. Obviously, you guys, we've been talking a lot about it in the group chat about Arcadia's success, and certainly we want to keep waving that big Knights flag here on College Baseball Now.
Hey, I appreciate that. I'm sure the guys that are might be listening to it will appreciate it too.
Well, we hope they are. Obviously, we hope they are. They're playing their butts off, and we hope that they're getting some chuckles listening to their coach and a couple of chuckleheads chopping up ball. So, Jake, same question to you, man. Who's somebody that always makes you laugh? Comedian, actress, actor, just a guy? Who you got?
Well, besides Drew Wheeler, of course, a guy that some people. So I've heard people say they don't like Will Ferrell very much, but I'm a big Will Ferrell fan. I think he's funny. Like Step Brothers is a movie that I've watched it probably 50 times, and I'll laugh at it every single time it comes on. Yeah, every single movie almost is just hilarious.
I forgot about him. That might be my answer too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He is an 80 comedy actor, and that's, I think, indisputable. And the thing that I've been into with Will Ferrell is the commercials I think he does for PayPal, where he's on the plane sitting next to the kid, and the kid's like, the kid just really snaps on him. I laugh every time I see that. Just he's very giving as a comedian too, to let the kid get the laugh. Just very funny.
He ruined that song Everywhere for me. That commercial at Santa's. He's like, I want to pay with you.
I want to pay with you everywhere.
That's every time I hear that song, that's all I think about is Will Ferrell as Santa trying to pay with his card everywhere that he goes. Whenever I hear that,
Fleetwood Mac has been ruined, and Will Ferrell to blame. Good to know.
We're back too. By the way, also when we see Josh drinking rum in the top right corner already, he's already got the cup out. He's got the rum going. I mean, it's going to be a great episode.
This has happened every single week. You just don't pay attention. You just haven't decided to show up.
Well, I'm just saying, we're really back. Everybody's back. We all get to see the rum.
It feels like we're
never a clear cup.
Never a clear cup
in Josh's.
It's always styrofoam. You're going to pour this all over your computer.
Don't pour the rum. Don't waste it, man. We know you got it in there.
Well, it is old times. The boys are back. 8 minutes in. No baseball yet, but Josh and JB have already been at each other. We've gotten our Arcadia chat in. It's going great thus far, but we've got plenty to chop up. Let's get to it. Josh, we are going to start with you because talking midweek games on a little network you guys might have heard of, ESPN. It's apparently this new thing. They show sports 24/7. Crazy stuff. A little game I like to watch on Tuesday evening, Auburn, Georgia Tech. A meeting of the minds, two of the country's most elite teams, some would say, Josh. Let's have you chop up the game before we get a little deeper into the analysis, please.
I mean, I'm at the point I might not call it two of the country's elite teams. I think we're approaching that point. I'm glad you enjoyed watching it because, boy, I sure didn't. I'm about tired of this offense right now. It's so frustrating. And I don't know, typically situationally, we don't really focus on making the smartest pitching decisions in the midweek, and that's kind of almost intentional. For example, when us allowing 13 runs is one thing. We put Christian Chatterton out there to start because it was giving Georgia Tech a different look than what they saw the last time they played Auburn, and Andreas Alvarez is going to be the starter on Thursday because of the mismatch week, the weird lining up of the week now. So when they put Justice DeJong in right after Chatterton in the second inning, and when it happened, I was like, why is this the move we're making right now? And I don't know. I forgot that pitching is a little bit different in the midweek based on strategy. And then he hangs a curveball right over the middle to Von Lackey for a 2-run home run immediately. And it was just all downhill from there. You can't deny this Georgia Tech offense. I'd say the best in the country. Them or UCLA, but this Auburn offense, we'll get into it more later, maybe when the Arkansas Auburn series is discussed. But if your name isn't Chase Fralick, Bristol Carter, or Chris Rembert, I have zero faith in you stepping up to the plate right now. It's really reached that point.
It's really sad because I relate so much to what you're saying for the team, the squadron that I support, the university that I base my feelings and hearts and hopes and dreams on. Yeah, I relate a lot. I relate a lot to what you're saying. That said, though, Josh, not the smartest move to leave that curveball hanging over the plate to arguably the most in fuego hitter across the United States of America in Von Lackey. So, Josh, really quickly, what have you liked out of Von Lackey? Because I know he was a player coming into this season. We talked about wanting to see him provide a little bit more oomph with the bat. I can't imagine any more oomph being given than what he's done.
No, I mean what I've liked is everything. It's a cop-out answer, but it seems like he's gotten at least a little bit better in every relevant area. The bat to ball has gotten better. The power seems to have gotten a little better. I assume, I know some of the numbers back me up. I've seen some of them, but not all of them. I assume this is backed up by it. His approach seems to be a little bit better. It's just, I don't know. We had him around the 20-ish range for college prospects preseason, and that's about where it was pretty consensus. Now it's if you have him outside the top 7 or 8, you kind of get weird looks because he's just increased his stock so much because he's been so lethal this whole year.
He really has. He absolutely has, as a matter of fact. Coach, going to come to you here. Talking about Georgia Tech's offense as a whole, I feel like all season, I know Josh and JB they had their memery early in the season about whether or not this offense is for real, and it is. I think that we're all of the agreement at this point, Jake. This is a real threatening crew of Jackets in Atlanta. But Jake, one guy who I think all of us are almost still looking for a little bit more out of is Drew Burress. I'm curious, Jake, what's the thought on Burress? Certainly not time to ring the alarm bells yet, right?
No, I'm not ringing any bells yet. But it is weird when we start talking about the top guys in this order, and he comes in at numbers wise, he's the 8th or 9th guy that we end up talking about on this team. It is weird. I think it's more because you look at Drew Burress's numbers, yeah, it's not to the level as most of the other guys in the order, but they're also not bad. He's still hitting for an over 1,000 OPS at this point. I think he got up to that either this past weekend or in yesterday's game. He's only got 5 homers right now. He's not producing the amount that we expected him to produce. But no, I'm not. We know the tools. We know you have to think it's gonna click at some point for him. He's gonna just go crazy. He may not, win the Golden Spikes like we kind of thought he was going to, but I'm not ringing any bells on Drew Burress at all. I won't count him out until he gives us a clear and obvious reason to count him out.
If I may speak up real quick about, Burress, if we're going to talk down or bad about him right now, I feel like we should say yesterday he was 2 for 4 with 3 RBI and a really impactful 2 RBI double early on. So he looked good yesterday and he looked good this past weekend. So he seems to be kind of putting the pieces back together already.
That's where I was going to go with JB, is that the corner has certainly turned. And you guys are right. Certainly, I guess if you're looking at this as a season at home, don't be alarmed because, as Jake said, this is still great production, even beyond the fact, as Josh alluded to, the recency has been at that elite level. I think we all expected all season long. JB, I'm going to give you an opportunity to windmill dunk on Auburn. I know that this is going to just play into you versus Josh, and so that's kind of what we're perpetuating here. Auburn is still, for my money, a top 25 team in this country. I don't think anybody in this group would discount that or disagree with that. But, JB, clearly some work must be done. I think Josh alluded to the answer that I would give. What do you see as being the major hang-up for these Tigers right now?
It has to be the offense. Honestly, I don't know how you couldn't talk about the offense. Them struggling to hit with runners in scoring position, struggling with timely hits in general, struggling even with the big swing with nobody on. That's something else. It's kind of just been an offense as a whole has been an issue. The pitching's been fairly solid. It's shown inconsistencies at times, but it's kept them in the games that they need to be in. So I think it's honestly an offensive issue, and not to jump off of the topic and not to, lightly slam dunk on Josh, like a two-hand finish right there rather than the windmill. Um, Ryan Zuckerman, this is more of a lift both of us up. We did talk about him as a possible top 50 guy in the preseason, and we're talking about Georgia Tech. So I thought, hey, we'll throw Ryan Zuckerman out there as a name. He is second in OPS on this team right now with an 1190. I think it's 1197 OPS right now for Georgia Tech. So kudos to us a little bit. Kudos to the squad here that has talked about Ryan Zuckerman. So
You guys are very bright. That was never in question. I think all three of you had talked about how Zuckerman could really pop off amongst the crew in Atlanta, and that he has thus far. It's been a very impressive first half of the season for him. First half of the season, that feels foul to say. I hate that. The season needs to slow down. I don't know what I'm going to do with the other 9 months of my year. Anyway, let's move on, though, because Arkansas, another team who was among our three SEC teams we were debating on who had the worst weekend, Arkansas's misfortunes have kept rolling into the midweek. Obviously, we say it every single week. We're not going to beleaguer this point, but midweek games, you're going to lose some. You're going to have some missteps. You're going to have some things kind of go wonky. And yet, Jake, Arkansas, Missouri State, that walk-off, that was a good one. I'm curious, Jake, what were your thoughts on that game, Arkansas, Missouri State?
I mean, just a ton of fireworks. Like I don't want to mention a single thing about either pitching staff here because this one was all this was all offense. I mean, like Arkansas goes up 1-0 early in the first, and Missouri State answers with a 6th spot in the second to let them know that they're there, they're ready to play some ball, they're ready to hang with them. Arkansas 6 more unanswered back. Missouri State 3 more. It just kept happening throughout the game. Christian Turner homered for Arkansas in the 5th. Logan Fife for Missouri State in the 6th. Cam Cozio in the 7th. Gabe Russler with a 2-run shot in the 9th to tie it up and send it to extras. Hold on, I'll lie. The one pitching note I'll make is Curry Sutherland for Missouri State. 3 innings, 0 runners on base, 5 punch outs in the 8th, 9th, and 10th, and that obviously set the stage for Caden Bogenpaul to say that he's had enough of the back and forth shootout, and he hit the game winner on the first pitch that he saw in the 10th inning. Just electric finish to a really, really fun game and a big win for Missouri State.
I think Caden Bogenpaul was probably like, look, I got an early morning class. We got to get out of here. Game. I'm calling game here and now. That was my head canon, but we can't prove that. Caden, if you are listening, let us know what class you got at 8 in the morning. JB, going to come to you on this one, man. Missouri State's offense has been just explosive all year long. I think we've talked about it, actually. Bogenpaul, the guy that we had top 50 in our preseason, and then I think he actually maintained that spot or just outside it in our top 100 update a little bit earlier in the year. He, one of the, I guess, most lackluster of that offense of Missouri State, but yet Arkansas's offense, JB, what is happening there? I feel like we are looking for somebody to step up and be that guy, and of a crop of dudes who I think we, again, in the preseason and leading into the season, we talked about 10 or 12 that could be the guy. And yet, there is no guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's truly the story. I mean, Arkansas has really been struggling to try to put together a well-rounded offense. The guy that we talked about a lot going into the season is Ryder Helfrich, and on top of that, they had returners like Kojal and Aloy, and some of those guys were really high on. And then the transfers, Mike Anu, TJ Pompey. They also talked about, how this offense we thought would really merge together very well. And there's a lot of veteran presence within the offense and not a lot of turnover necessarily. That was very life-changing, I guess a good way to put it, for this team. And it just has not worked or meshed together as typical Arkansas teams do. Usually it's kind of a more consistent, steady flow. I wouldn't describe Arkansas as necessarily like a top offense usually every year. They're usually a team that has a very good offense And usually I feel like they are a better pitching than hitting team in just general recollection, I feel like. Um, but yeah, I think it's kind of concerning at this point to see even in like a shootout like this, now the pitching's faltering and you lose in a shootout game with a mid-major like them. And Bogenpol has obviously been a big piece for Missouri State, even though he hasn't played well. He's been their main guy for 2 years now. So it makes sense that he's the guy to cap it off kind of and send him packing.
Yeah, it's certainly poetic that way. That again, it's funny we say it like that though, JV, but it's almost like it was written. You have two teams who, I guess everybody's performing equally. The guy you expect to be a star for Missouri State steps up and is a star when they needed him most. Josh, a lot of very interesting similarities between your Auburn Tigers and these Arkansas Razorbacks. I don't want to bury the lead because we are going to chat this matchup later on, but I have a very specific game time for you if you're interested.
I'm very interested. Although I don't talking about Auburn is a sore spot these days for me. But you know what? We'll stomach it. We'll deal with it.
Yeah, all of your favorite teams are just kind of in a blender right now. Southern Miss not doing so hot.
Hey, one of my teams won a 14-inning game last night. So
which team is that?
I don't think that's your team. I don't think so. That's LG's team.
Wait.
Let's get it right.
That is LG's team. He stayed for the whole game. Respect.
Shout out LG. We knew you were there. We had our sources. No, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we're good. You went blank on my screen.
Oh geez, my bad. No, still here, man. I'm sorry. Your screen's probably just sick of seeing me. Josh, the question is, which offense do you trust more right now, Auburn's or Arkansas's?
The team who scored 14 yesterday, Arkansas. Easy answer.
Which pitching staff do you trust more right now, Auburn or Arkansas?
Auburn, definitely.
I think it's going to make for a very interesting matchup, series of matchups this weekend, as is kind of the point I'm getting at. Because, again, I think historically speaking, as JB alluded to, I'd almost expect those things to be flipped. But it's interesting that 2026 is throwing a lot of things on its head. Speaking of things being thrown on the heads, JB, we're going to come to you for our last midweek game that we want to give a little bit of talk to. Washington and Oregon State. Now, if this were college football, I'd be all in. I'd be so invested. I think, Washington this year. Jake, let me go to you. What's a kind word to describe Washington's season this year?
A kind word? I mean, I don't.
Lackluster is the best one I can come up with.
Yeah, that's a kind word for it. I mean, they haven't been like horrible. I mean, they're 500 in the Big Ten, but like as a team as a whole, I would say they're not one you would expect to do what they did to Oregon State.
That's very accurate. And JB, what a wonderful way to send that to you, sir. Walk us through what happened in the game first, and then we'll get a little bit deeper.
Yeah, well, if you just kind of pull up the box score, you see Washington put up a 4 spot in the first and a 5 spot in the third. So it's not what you'd expect from Washington offense, especially against Oregon State. And then you go further down the line and you see a nice double-digit 18 runs and 17 hits later down the line. So that's also not what you're looking for from Oregon State. And a little bit more digging, only 5 hits from Oregon State, 2 runs on the day. Pretty terrible showing from their offense that we've harped on a lot this year. Kind of going over the best kind of breakout performers for Washington. Colton Bauer had a double and a triple for them. Landon Young and Daniel Poros both had homers. Those are kind of the main standouts for Washington. They kind of led the ship. They had 5 guys with multiple hits. That might be the only time this season Washington's had 5 guys with multiple hits in a game. So, I mean, it's something else that we definitely didn't expect.
No, I certainly didn't expect it at all. And yet, here we sit with another interesting midweek to talk about. Josh, going to come to you. Oregon State. JB really put it out there again in a great way for the natural transition. Way to go, JB. Attaboy to you. Josh, we talked earlier. in the season a little bit ad nauseum, actually, about how Oregon State's offense was so poor, so bad. To the point where, if I'm not mistaken, we spent probably 5 minutes of an episode asking if we'd rather have various mid-major offenses with that team, and that was such a great segment. We need to chop that up somewhere and put that on socials. But Josh, what's the current state of the what's the current outlook on the Oregon State offense? I was going to say, what's the current state of the Oregon State offense? Oregon is the answer, but what's the current outlook?
Not good. I mean, like it's still not good. And it's even a little more concerning in midweeks when you see these kind of performances, because that's when you get the worst pitching typically. I mean, Washington only threw 3 guys. They had Liam Learman go out there for 5 1/3 in relief and just kind of shut them down a little bit. That's just not a pitching staff who's done much at all this year. And so it's really more worrisome to see it in that game than a lot of others we've seen this year. I mean, so many of the guys, I mean, I feel like what I'm about to say, I've said so many times this year, but it's true. Like Easton Talt and Adam Haight and like Bryce Hubbard and these guys, no hits, just didn't come through at all. Really, no one at all was a consistent, really like big performer last night besides Paul Vasquez. It was just across the board poor. And I feel like we've seen this somewhat often from them. It's gotten a little bit better recently. I mean, the bar is low. Like, it's a really low standard there. But, I mean, they scored 19 in a game against Mercer this past week. They scored 12 in the midweek against USC's 10-arm bullpen game. So, I mean, we've seen flashes here and there, but, like, still they scored, I think it was 3 in the last game on Sunday against a Mercer pitching staff, which, I mean, obviously Mercer, good team. That's a postseason team, but nothing fancy. So, I don't know. I feel like I don't really have a lot of hope for it to turn around, to be honest. I had conversations preseason about putting Oregon State lower than a lot of people because I just don't see this offense taking them the distance as good as the pitching staff is, and I still kind of stand by that opinion.
I think that, and now granted, this is just one guy in the college baseball now echo chamber, if we want to call it that, but I think that's apt. I think you have a very realistic outlook on this team who has proven to be inconsistent, and that's probably the nicest word we could say for this offense, because poor is also right on the tip of my tongue. Jake, I'm going to come to you to talk about Washington really quickly. We said it a minute ago. I think lackluster was the word that I used to describe their season. But you said, man, they're 500 in the Big Ten. It could be a lot worse. I'm curious, man. We haven't talked a lot about Washington. Shout out some of the guys that are killing it for them this year. Or let me rephrase. Shout out some of the guys that are not doing awful for them this year.
No, they do have some bright spots. I mean, the brightest spot on their team is Jackson Hotchkiss. I mean, he was the guy that, you know, I think coming into the year, if there was a guy that you could have predicted to kind of be the guy for Washington, like they don't have a lot of stars, a lot of names on their team, but he was kind of the one. I think he's a sophomore this year. I think he was also injured at the start of the year, but he's hitting .409 in the 17 games that he's played in. 1,300 OPS. He's leading the team in homers. He's I think he's like third on the team in RBIs after missing like 8 or 9 games this year. Like, I don't know. He's pulling a lot of the weight. Daniel Porras is also doing well. I think he had a big game against Oregon State. He's got 6 homers on the year as well. And on the pitching side, Noah Kinney, he had a good start last weekend against Northwestern. 7 innings, 9 strikeouts, 3 hits, 1 run. Gunnar Nichols and Hayden Lewis is their other starters. Lewis had a strong start against Northwestern as well. So yeah, those are the guys to kind of pay attention to for Washington. I really like Hotchkiss. I like watching him play.
Hotchkiss is the guy that I had highlighted as well. Glad you brought him up, and he was overdue to come up on the show. And I think there's several guys that we hadn't had the opportunity to talk about that have done really, really great. And so Hotchkiss, certainly one of those. Hats off, can of Coke to you, buddy. We talked about a couple games already, guys. Several other games worth mentioning. Josh, as we said just a minute ago, your second favorite team, Southern Miss, still in the blender, bro. Southeast Louisiana put up 5 on them boys. The Eagles only scored 1. Portland put up 3 runs on Oregon in the midweek. All those who have Oregon is not really that great propaganda going. Love to see it. Jacksonville and Florida man, guys, I love this joke. I say it just about once every episode, but I think at this point it's not Dr. Arizona and Mr. Wildcats anymore. It's Dr. Florida and Mr. Gators. What team are we going to get every time that this group comes to the Diamond? I don't know. It is truly a mystery. Liberty 7, NC State 5. Another team that I expect a lot out of NC State. I think that we talk a lot about them, and their bright spots are incredibly bright. And then High Point winning a 1-0 squeaker over Wake. Lot of upsetting stuff here, but again, we don't want to beleaguer it. None of these teams are just absolutely bar none. This is awful. This team sucks. But maybe there's cause for concern. So that's going to bring us to our another game time really quick before we get into pick 'em. Josh, which one of the 5 teams that I guess we expected to win that lost are you most concerned about? You can only answer in one sentence, and I will stop you.
NC State, because they seem to be falling apart at the seams.
Ooh, that's a great sentence. Leaves me wanting more. But alas, I said the one sentence. We'll have to talk about it later. JB, which of these teams in one sentence concerns you the most?
I'll go with Oregon. I think it's a show of what we've all been scared of about Oregon in the offense.
Very good. Again, I want to hear more, but you guys are doing great to titillate me, but leave me with just a taste. Jake, which of these 5 teams are you most concerned about in one sentence, sir?
Most concerned about, I guess Wake Forest. I mean, we've seen them kind of be up and down this year at certain points, and then scoring 0 runs against High Point. That is, I think that nonetheless, we talk about midweeks and how much they matter to certain teams, but scoring 0 runs against High Point is, I think it is a concern.
It is. It absolutely is. I'll jump in and say that, we're riffing a lot at Josh about, like the misfortune of his teams right now, but Southern Miss, it is really worth calling out that this was a team who came into Starkville for like a top 15 matchup, were blanked there, went into and lost a series with App State last weekend, and now 1 run to 5 against Sela. If I was going to ring any alarm bells on these teams, that would be the one that I am absolutely just hammering at the moment. But I think that that's a quality team. We've said it all year. Quality ball club, just play the game the right way. And this is such a BS thing to say, but they play the game the right way. I mean, they play good baseball. I expect better out of them. I'm really disappointed. Now the proud daddy's coming out of me here. Anyway, let's move on to Pick'em. Josh, I would love it if you could recap us on last week, what the big storylines of our Pick'em were, what the scores were, and where we're at overall, please.
Well, of course you would love it if I updated the people because you won last week. So, of course you want to talk about it. You went 6-2 last week. Jake had another winning week going 5-3. JB and I, who had the exact same picks, went 4-4. So we probably should have gone with y'all a little bit on some more stuff. On the year, Drew has a 3-game lead on me in second. Drew is 34-21. I have 31 wins. I have a 1-game lead on Jake. He is cutting it closer and closer by the week. He's 30-25. And JB, we don't need to talk about it. 27-28 is really bringing up the rear there.
Oh, wait. Man, you really landed on thick for poor JB there.
I make better picks. I don't know.
Jeez.
It's all right. Yeah, I can take it. That I had my vacation. I had my fun. It's all right.
Now it's time to get serious, you say.
Yeah, exactly. It's time to kick Josh's butt.
Ooh, and the butt shall be kicked. But enough about Josh's butt. We've got plenty to talk about because we've got 8 great series to chop up and break down. JB, we're going to keep it with you as we go out west because we've got some Big Ten action. USC and UCLA. I don't think that we're out of the realm of reality to say these are the top 2 teams in the Big Ten, and now we're going to throw them into the ring and see who comes out standing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that statement right now. I definitely think they're the 2 hottest teams, at least for sure. There's no denying that. It's the first true test for USC. I mean, a lot of people have had a lot of questions about all this all season, playing kind of so-so competition. And, you can make the argument for the Oregon State game is like it's their first true opponent, but they did lose that game to Oregon State 12-4. So, I mean, and we talked about that Oregon State offense, so not going to go any further on this, but it is a good challenge for them, and we'll get to see Mason Edwards and Grant Govell kind of figure out what they really got there in those front two in the rotation we've talked a lot about and how great they've been. For UCLA, it's just another weekend. It's kind of go show why you're the number one team in the country, basically. It doesn't matter who they play, they got to perform. It's not really a prove it scenario for them. So I think it's a big prove it weekend for the Trojans, and for UCLA, it's kind of just fighting off whatever they throw at them.
So, too. Josh, we talked earlier in the year, and I don't remember who the other pitcher that we used in this sort of comparative property was, but we talked about how UCLA, arguably their toughest pitching test earlier in the year was Tennessee's Tegan Coons. I think we referenced how USC, obviously they have got a 1-2 up against anybody in the country with Edwards and Govell. I'm curious, what do you think they are going to need to do, Josh? How are they going to need to execute to overcome UCLA this weekend?
I mean, I think it's stick to their bread and butter. Mason Edwards, his stuff has looked much better this year, and he's striking out 47% of batters because of it. I think if he continues to command the way he has been and his stuff continues to play the same way, I'm not going to say it's going to work like a charm because we know the lineup he's going up against. But, I mean, it'll put him in a really good spot. Grant Govell, on the other hand, that's a strike thrower. He's been filling up the zone all year, only walking 3% of guys. If you continue to fill up the zone, it's dangerous. I get it. Guys like Rock Chalowski, Will Gasparino, Mulavai Lavu, they can take you yard. They can get a hold of one. But his stuff is also good enough, and it plays off each other well enough that we've seen, throughout the rest of the year already, that I think it's going to be fine. I don't your definition of fine in this case could depend. But, I mean, even though they both have ERAs of 0.67 and 1.2 respectively, I think even if you go 5 innings and allow 2-3 runs, that's so reasonable. I would consider it a win. In general, no, but against this specific lineup, I would consider that a win.
Against a hyper-powered offense like this, and there are a couple of other ones we can identify, and I'm sure you at home, you can think of the 2 or 3 I have in mind. Yes, Josh, you're 100% right. Jake, going to come to you here on a point that Josh alluded to just a moment ago. With Edwards specifically, he has such nasty stuff that he'll let it kind of dance off the zone, off the black. He'll have some guys try to chase, but that does incur, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere north of a 15% walk rate. Obviously, when you get the strikeout rate that, Josh, one more time, that was 46%. Is that correct? 40. Forgive me, Mason Edwards. 47% strikeouts. It's all going to come out in the wash, Jake, but I guess my question for you is two-pronged, Jake. First of all, which guys for UCLA, and if it's an easy answer, Jake, it's an easy answer. Which guys are going to show out against Edwards specifically, who can wait for their pitch and execute, and then who is going to maybe take advantage of Govell living in the zone?
I feel like that can be answered. Both of those questions can be answered the same way. This is a cop-out answer to your questions, but I think there's truth to it. Can I say almost everyone for UCLA?
Okay.
Like Mulavai Lavu is crushing the ball. Will Gasparino is crushing the ball. Rock Chalowski, Roman Martin. We've named these guys over and over again, and they continue to do it. And that's led to UCLA being on a 20-game winning streak. 20 games. That's insane. The next highest win streak in the country is Mississippi State and High Point, tied at 9, and that's obviously more than doubled that. To answer your question about who's going to come through, I don't think there's a guy in that lineup that I don't trust right now. I love Mason Edwards. I love what he's doing, and Grant Govell and what he's doing, but it's not going to be an easy task going up against pretty much anybody in this lineup.
It is going to be tricky. I think you did a great job of kind of explaining what I was hoping to get out of that, and great job, man, because like you said, this is a loaded lineup. And as good as USC's 1-2 has been, this is the test for them. On the flip side, and this is more to all of you, just a thought, UCLA's pitching not slouches by any means. Logan Redeman has been just as good as I think, Jake, you talked about him, I think, even in our very first or maybe the second episode of the podcast. We've all been encouraged by him and wanted to see stuff out of him. Michael Barnett has also pitched very, very well in his 7 starts. I'm curious, guys, from a 1 to 10, let's say 1 is deeply worried. This is going to be tragic. 10 is nothing to worry about. I think they're going to do just fine. USC's bats, guys like Adrian Lopez, guys like Kevin Takuchi. What do we expect them to do against UCLA's pitching that, again, is not a walk in the park? Josh, we'll start with you. Just how do you expect they'll do?
You said 1 is really good and 10 is not good?
Well, just however you want to interpret that. How do you think they're going to do? If 1 is, I think they're going to struggle, 10 is they're going to exceed.
I mean, well, this leads into my pick, so I'll go ahead and just make my pick by saying it too. I'm going to take UCLA because I think that the story that might come from this is not that USC's pitching really gets touched on a little bit, but I think it's the bats can't really keep up because they've shown signs of struggling. There really aren't a lot of stars in the lineup that have really come through. So I think it's going to be a little bit of an issue because, guys like Logan Redeman and Michael Barnett have kind of been brushed under the rug after, as well as his offense has done, they've done just as well. So I think they'll be able to take care of things. Also, I think to add on to my pick, I guess, like USC, I think even if their starters do get touched up a little bit, the guys in their bullpen that have gotten the most innings consistently have been good, not great. Like Chase Harrell, Gavin Lauritsen, I think they can be touched up a little bit with this lineup, and it could end up hurting them a little worse than they're expecting.
Interesting. Jake, going to go to you for your pick. Coach, what are we thinking here? We've got 1 UCLA on the board.
Yeah, we're gonna have 2 UCLAs on the board. I'm going with them as well. We're kind of giving UCLA a very heavy favoritism here, but this is the battle right now for the Big Ten. These are the 2 best teams in the conference, and this is the series that we all got our Big Ten Plus subscriptions for. And how on earth is this series not on Fox, ESPN, somewhere big for everybody to watch it? I don't know. I don't make the rules for that, but I'm going UCLA. I like them at home, and they're on the 20-game win streak. I don't see them slowing down yet. I got UCLA.
We need to put you in charge of what games are on major networks, Jake. That'd be a lot easier.
JB, stop putting Auburn on them.
JB, gonna go to you here. 2 UCLAs on the board. The graphics starting to look kind of risky.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be 3, and I'll say it here in a different light than everybody else. I think USC definitely has the ability to make an upset here. Now, also, just for fun fact here, the last time that UCLA lost was on February 24th against San Diego State in the midweek. So it's been over a month. So kind of crazy to think about. But I think the biggest factor here is just the fact that if USC's offense does strike at any point, UCLA has the ability to strike back with anybody in the lineup, almost 1 through 9, pretty much. I mean, it's a snap of the finger and they can be right back in the game. So I think that's the biggest thing compared to USC is going to have a few guys that might be able to help them do that, not 1 through 9. So I think UCLA is just the depth, honestly, and I think that's why they get there.
Absolutely. Guys, I am going to be taking a university from California with my pick. It's going to be UCLA though. The graphic is shot. We're one series in, but JB is correct. I think that USC can hang in there. The deciding factor here, though, is that as overpowering as good and even well matched as the pitching staffs are, UCLA's offense is just otherworldly dominant in 2026. All right, let's go on. We'll go kind of quickly through this one. Coach, Georgia, Mississippi State, 2 hyper power offenses. Curious, Jake, what do you think the story of this series is going to be? And then wrap that into your pick, sir.
Yeah, so right now there's 3 teams in the SEC with a 7-2 record. It's Texas, and then these two teams. They're both coming off of sweeps, with Mississippi State sweeping Ole Miss on the road, Georgia sweeping South Carolina at home. Not sure if Ryan McPherson's going to be back this weekend. I haven't seen any news
I think he is.
come out on that.
Oh, cool.
You think he is?
I think.
Okay. So right now it was, well, I guess the way the matchups look, if McPherson is back, it's going to be him versus Joey Volchko on Thursday. Tomas Valencias versus Dylan Vigue, who only lasted like one out on his start last Saturday, on the Friday game, and then Duke Stone versus Kenny Ishikawa, who did not look good in his start last weekend in the potential rubber match this Saturday. Like, I guess just talking about those matchups, that's kind of what I'm basing a lot of my picks off of. I think the starting pitching for Georgia last weekend was not great. Volchko was solid, but he kind of got hit around. But Vigue and Ishikawa, they combined for just 1 1/3 inning, 6 walks, 2 strikeouts, and just 49 total pitches in their starts. And they're just not going to be able to get away with that, especially pitching at Mississippi State. So just kind of going off of that, I'm going with Mississippi State. I think they can really take advantage of this Georgia starting pitching if they come out flat again. I don't want to predict that they're going to come out flat again, but just going off the way they looked last weekend, I'm going with Mississippi State.
Very good, very good. JB, coming to you here, big SEC action, arguably the second. Two teams that would think they're the second best team in the SEC. They're going to figure out which one's better. Who do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to take Mississippi State kind of for a similar reason. They're rolling hot, and also I just think this offense too has been very, very good and not talked about a lot by a lot of people. So I think Mississippi State kind of rolls into it, and they'll be the winner of the weekend.
Well said. Josh, coming to you, 2 Mississippi States on the board. Are you going to take, I guess it's a battle of Bulldogs. Which brand is yours?
Unfortunately, the ones from Starkville. I hate to make the graphic look like this, but the story is probably the pitching for Mississippi State's been lights out lately. I mean, they're on a 9-game win streak, and they're allowing 2 runs a game. And when Georgia is losing games, it's because their pitching crumbles. It doesn't really help that their starters are walking guys at high rates. Volchko's walking 12% of batters. Vigue's walking 12%. Ishikawa's walking 13%, and he's got almost a 10 ERA. The bullpen behind them's been iffy. But, I mean, as good as that offense is, I'd love to pick them just to try and have some belief in this offense. But the pitching has been iffy kind of here and there recently, and Mississippi State is just pitching the lights out of the ball, and I'm going to trust that. Especially if McPherson comes back, I'm going to trust that over everything.
I think so. Another clean sweep. It's going to be Mississippi State for Drew, too.
Oh, man.
Guys, I'm telling you, that atmosphere is just a different animal. I think that, like you said, if the difference comes down to the pitching staff, I think even into the bullpen, Mississippi State has shown they have got weapons that can be deployed any place. And we can't get over the incredible performances. I mean, even if McPherson comes back a little rocky, Tomas Valencias on Friday, he's going to be the second starter, typically Saturday. I mean, that's lights out. He has been an absolute shutdown arm for Mississippi State. I nearly said for the Bulldogs, for Mississippi State. All right,
Wow.
JB. Yeah. JB, walk us through Florida State and Virginia, the ACC, 2 of their top teams, also going to be colliding. And I'm curious, what do you think is going to be the deciding factor in that series?
Yeah, I guess the biggest storyline, which we already hit on, is Miles Bailey. He will no longer be with the team, obviously, because of injury. So, that sucks for Florida State. That's a huge loss for them. That's the opening note there. UVA coming off of a bad weekend in Chestnut Hill when they played Boston College. It just wasn't great for them. They went 1-2 on the weekend. They salvaged the last game 3-1, but they got blown out in one of the games. It's just kind of a bad showing for a team that got into the top 10 recently. Florida State, it's kind of trying to see how they can survive without Miles Bailey. The offense has sputtered at times. It's kind of been something for them that they've been inconsistent with, and they want to show more consistency throughout the end of the season, especially going into ACC like tournament time and all that. That's going to be very big for them. So I think it's kind of figuring out what type of offense they're going to have for the rest of the way. And for me, I guess I'll just lead it off. I'm going to be going with UVA. I think they bounce back. I think it's just a big weekend for them, and that they obviously, I think they'll get in line and kind of bounce back into the shape that we've seen them for the early part of ACC play.
Yeah. I'll actually go second. I never go second. I'm going to go second here. I'm going to take Virginia as well. I think that Florida State's pitching is as excellent as they've been. I mean, truly, just outstanding stuff from their top two fellas, and really from their bullpen as well. I think this is really kind of an interesting mirror of the USC UCLA series. We don't know what one offense is going to look like, and even if you say the pitching is leveled, the other offense we trust a whole lot more, and that's going to be UVA for Drew as well. Josh, going to take it to you. There's two Virginias on the board. Are you going to make it three?
I'm not. And I'm actually going to kind of push back on something you said, because I think I trust FSU's offense more than UVA right now, because the offense for UVA was really what was rough for them last weekend as a whole. They have three guys with an OPS over 1,000 that have, a decent number of plate appearances. But that's really about it. AJ Gracia, Sam Harris, and Eric Becker are the driving forces in this offense, and then it kind of drops off. I trust the Florida State offense to be able to continue things, kind of as they've been doing. Like, it hasn't been the best offense all year besides Miles Bailey. Braden Dowd looked really good. Kelvin Polino Jr. and John Stutzer have looked pretty solid too. I think they'll be able to carry the load. Eli Putnam seems to be who that Florida State's going to put at first base in place of Miles Bailey. I think he can hold down that spot pretty well. And I think Florida State's pitching just has a real chance to dominate this weekend. Wes Mendez, Trey Beard, Bryson Moore is one of the best rotations in the country, without a shadow of a doubt. And the Virginia offense has been rough lately, it seems, so I think they can probably keep things going and, persevere and get a nice big road series win in the ACC this weekend.
Great points, man. Hey, you're right. Hey, good points. Jake, 2-1 right now. Now you are in my seat. What are you going to do here, Jake?
Yeah, Josh kind of just took all the words right out of my mouth. I'm going Florida State too. I mean, this is an interesting series. Both have specific issues with we mentioned how they feel the whole of with Miles Bailey and everything. But like, you guys know how I feel about this Florida State pitching staff. I think they give the offense, who Josh just said was doing just fine, a chance to keep things rolling, a chance to find their footing without their star. I think the pitching staff keeps going, and I'm going Florida State.
Interesting split. Wow. Finally, this graphic gets a little bit of sauce. Love it. All right. Josh, of course, we're going to take it to you. We've talked a lot about these two teams, Arkansas, Auburn. It's going to be an interesting series. They've been flipped on their heads a little bit. Give me just like a sentence or two about what you think is going to be the deciding factor. Start us off with your pick.
I'm going to start us off with a meme, actually, because there's been it's a very basic meme, but it's floating around recently. I think it's hilarious for no reason. The YouTube viewers can get a glimpse of this. Hello, whoever's dog that was. Trash versus garbage.
Oh, yeah.
That is the Arkansas pitching staff and the Auburn offense recently. Just straight up. I mean, on this losing streak Arkansas is on, they're allowing 9.5 runs a game. On Auburn's current losing streak, they are scoring 1.8 runs per game. It's just it's poor. It's piss poor across the board. It's terrible. Whichever one of those can bust out of their slump, something's got to give. Unless Auburn scores 17 runs in the series, which is 5.7 across the board. That's just right down the middle. Unless that happens, something's got to give a little bit. I have to go with Auburn. I just have to. I think really my only basis for this, because I have no faith in this team right now. I am curious to see how Andreas Alvarez does in the Thursday spot instead of the midweek, and how that pushes back the rest of the rotation. There's been some people that have been really vocal about that move needing to be made, because Andreas has a sub-1 ERA, although he's only been at midweeks. Very curious to see how that goes. But look, at the end of the day, the big premise behind Auburn baseball the past couple of years is of building up that atmosphere. And so many people that have been there recently, like national people, have said that is a top 5 atmosphere in the SEC now, which, by default means it's a top atmosphere in the country. Auburn's really stood behind the whole "if you build it, they will come" mindset. And the fans are coming in full force. Auburn's only lost one series at home dating back to the end of the 2024 season, in which we went 8-22 in conference play. And that was the last home series against Texas, but they still took one against the number 2 team in the country. So I would say it's a pretty, established track record recently there. So I'm gonna trust that atmosphere, trust them getting back home, get adjusted a little bit, and get their feet underneath them, and get a solid series win to get back on track.
You painted the picture very well, Josh. Thank you, sir. JB, as expected, I'm hoping you're. Are you going to go Auburn? You going to go Arkansas? What's the pushback here?
I'm gonna go Arkansas in the opposite direction, and it's got to be what happens. And obviously, my reasoning behind it is like we talked about earlier. I trust the Arkansas offense more, and also coming off of a series sweep at home against the Gators, I think it's a fire underneath their butt to go do something right now to prove that their season's something. And I believe in that pitching staff to turn around too. They got all the talent in the world, so I think Arkansas for me, and I think they break this curse that Josh is talking about on home series losses for opposing teams. So that's what I'm rocking with.
Do you not think the team that just got swept on the road against their arch rival has some fire under their butt too?
I mean, they probably do, but I just
saying.
They do, but I just believe more in Arkansas.
Don't make me defend this team. I hate
Coach.
Don't do this.
Coach, we've got one Auburn and one Arkansas on the board.
Coaching track record, I think, is better. I'll leave it at that.
Don't disrespect Bush like that. How dare you? That's my guy. How dare you?
That's all I got to say.
Jake, I'm begging you to make a pick here. Get these guys to stop.
I was just about to mention how when JB said that the fire was lit under Arkansas after losing to Florida, like how was Auburn's fire not lit after getting swept at Alabama? But I'm gonna pick Auburn. They're 13-4 at home. That's just kind of how I feel. I'm going Auburn, playing at home.
Oh, this is tough.
No, it's not.
It is tough. It's very tough. Oh, this is
one guy's an Omaha coach and one really isn't, Drew. That's what I'm going to leave it at.
Listen.
Coach has been to Omaha twice in the past, I think, 6 years, 7 years, something like that. How dare you?
Listen. This is both of these teams need to get it together right here. These are elite teams we expect to be topping our 25 on a regular basis. I expect that of both of these teams. Oh, man. I am going to go Arkansas by like a very thin hair here. Josh, you make a very compelling argument. It's difficult to win at Auburn. It's difficult to take a series there right now, but Arkansas needs this very badly. And I think this might, if they let me down here, this might be the nail in them until they show me something. They could be getting into LSU territory. So we'll see what happens. UCF, West Virginia, two of Drew's darlings in the Big 12 are going at it, and I'm going to jump out and say right off the rip, I'm picking first here, guys. Give me West Virginia or give me death. I love this team. They have got all kinds of guys. When you watch a game, Gavin Kelly's playing someplace. Hey, tune in tomorrow because he's going to be at another position. Paul Schoenfeld has been incredibly consistent. I think he was on like a 10 hit streak at one point earlier this year, and not to mention the guy that Josh said I was a crazy person last episode for thinking he was one of the best lefties in the class, Mr. Max Yell. Love that guy. I think a top 50 college prospect for this draft.
Apparently, West Virginia fans think so too. They let me know it.
Well, I guess I'm a West Virginia fan because I'm with them on that. Give me the Mountaineers. Josh, we will go to you, a known West Virginia hater. What are you thinking here?
Can you go to them to make their picks before coming back to me? I have a reason for asking. I will harp on West Virginia, or I'll talk about it. Just go to them first.
Yeah, sure. Okay, since you asked, so well, that's odd, but sure. Jake, Jake, I'm going to go to you then. What are you thinking? A Big 12 matchup, two of the better teams in the Big 12 thus far.
Yeah, they sure are. You know, Drew, you got to be chomping at the bit to watch to talk about. I mean, we might look up Friday afternoon and you're just in Morgantown because you're so excited about this series. I mean, what I'll say, like, I hope what I really hope is that the Saturday game is, I hope Matt Saucer is back for UCF, and I hope that it's Matt Saucer versus Max Yell. That is going to be like one of the best pitching matchups that we've seen probably this year in terms of guys that have been hyping, guys that have been performing on the stage that they've been on. If Souser was guaranteed, I think I'd be more enticed to go with UCF. But between that and West Virginia being at home, I think I'm going to go West Virginia. I think they pull this one out.
I love the shout out for Souser because that's accurate, Jake. I mean, he has been, for my money, another top 3-4 pitcher in the Big 12 this year. So, JB, going to go to you at the request of Mr. Catlett. He will go last. So 2 West Virginias on the board, JB. Are you going to take it to Central Florida, or are we sticking with the Mountaineers here?
I'm going to go with Central Florida. And, I'm going to take the other end here. I think they are – well, both teams are coming in very hot, but they have beat down an Arizona team that has rightfully been awful coming into this. So they gave them a nice beat down as a warm-up for this game. I think UCF – they got the tools really to make this an interesting series. I think it's really a coin flip, honestly, but I'll take the shot here to go the opposite of you guys.
You need to take shots. We were talking a minute ago. This would be a great series for you to take the win, and like you said, they've got the tools to get it done. They've got some really credible players on that offense. I know we talk a lot about Andrew Williamson, but man, John Smith III is absolutely accelerant right now in that outfield for UCF. Josh, gonna come to you at your request, sir. The platter is yours. 2-1 right now in favor of West Virginia. What are you thinking?
I did that just to see what their picks would be, because if it was a West Virginia sweep, I was going to take the shot and go with UCF because there are reasons why I think they could win this. But deep down, I think West Virginia is going to. They've won 9 of their last 10. They're hot. The offense is becoming undeniable at this point. Gavin Kelly, Paul Schoenfield, Matt and I think those guys have been so consistent for them, it seems, week to week. Like you said, Gavin Kelly, wherever they decide to put him. I think they have some pitching advantages on if they probably won't, but if it does line up this week, like typical Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think West Virginia has a clear Sunday advantage, a little bit of a Friday advantage, definitely not Saturday, but I think they can do enough in the home field. They should have a good crowd out there because this is, some people are saying it's probably the Big 12 series of the year. If the West Virginia Arizona State wasn't last week, So yeah, I was gonna take the shot if it was all WVU, but I'll just play it safe since somebody decided to mix up the graphic a little bit. I'm not complaining.
All right, very good. All right, these last 3, let's rip through them kind of quickly. Jake, we'll start with you. Alabama and Oklahoma. Another 2 teams who I think are pretty good matchups for one another right now. Alabama, almost the Oklahoma of the month of March, whereas Oklahoma surging through February, Alabama surging recently. Who do you think comes out on top in this matchup, sir?
I'm gonna pick Oklahoma. Look, so Alabama, I'll talk about Alabama for a second. They've won 8 games in a row. They shocked everybody sweeping Florida 2 weeks ago. They shocked everybody about 20 times more by sweeping Auburn right after. The only note I have to say about those is, look, so here I am. I'm a Tennessee fan looking to say something, negative about Alabama, but I've defended them. And talked good about them the last 2 times I've talked about them. And since we started the show, I don't think I've ever said anything nice about Alabama in my life. And I drafted them in my Omaha 8 draft. So I've paid my dues for the Alabama fan base. But the only note I have about those last 2 weekends is that they were both in Tuscaloosa. So, Alabama, they're 17-1 at home, 3-5 on the road. That might not mean anything, but because of that, I am going to go with Oklahoma. Bama hasn't proven they can win on the road, so I'm going with Oklahoma.
Interesting. What was that record? 17-1 at home?
Yeah, 17-1 at home, and then 3-5 on the road.
Those are some interesting numbers, man. That percentage jumped pretty radically from in the 90% or more to 33, or what is that, 30, whatever, math percent, less than 40% on the road. JB, going to come to you here. Looking at Alabama, Oklahoma, who do you like?
I'll be taking Oklahoma too. I think the pitching staff just, is a lot better. than what Alabama's going to throw out there. And, Alabama's been very hot, but I think this is a chance for the Oklahoma team to kind of rebound from kind of sputtering a little bit right now and get back on track with a good series win.
Well said. Josh, going to you here. 2 OKs. Are you going to be the one to take a team from Alabama? Surely you will.
I mean, look, JB took the exact word I was going to use to describe Oklahoma's offense out of my mouth. It's sputtering right now. They're averaging 2.5 runs over the last 8 games, and just everything is clicking for Bama right now. They're on an 8-game win streak. That said, I cannot take those guys. I can't do it. I would hate for us to have a sweep because it's going to be another bad look if we have another sweep against Bama for the second week in a row. I think did we sweep Florida over Bama too? I think we did. So this is going to be week 3 in a row. But as cliche as it is, it's very true. It is so difficult to win a road series in the SEC, especially teams of this caliber. I think OU gets it done. As bad as that offense has been recently, the pitching might be able to come through, going back home, getting their feet underneath them.
So you said it will be 3 weeks with a sweep against
This will be 3 weeks in a
Alabama.
row we're sweeping against Bama. Yeah.
Forgive me, God. I'll take Alabama then. I think this is a good instance that if I'm in the lead, I can play with this point and say, what if, right? I mean, what if this Alabama offense that's kind of putting it together behind Justin LeBron can keep it up and can do the statistically improbable, as Jake pointed out a minute ago? What if they can win on the road? And what if Oklahoma maybe lets them get a Friday or a Saturday win and then they pick it up on Sunday? I will begrudgingly roll with the Tide. God save me for that.
You didn't have to say that phrase. You can just say Alabama. How dare you? How dare you?
That's fair. Yeah, I need to be. I need to.
We can cut that out.
Church. I need to go to church for that one. Josh, while I'm baptizing myself in holy water, I'm going to let you walk through what you're thinking for Charlotte and ECU and make your pick, sir.
Yeah, this is a super fun series. I'm glad we're talking about it. All of these big series in the American and Conference USA, I think, need to be talked about, and this is one of the big ones. Charlotte had a huge series win against South Florida last week, which was another one of these. East Carolina came close to pulling it out against UTSA, but didn't. Those are the 4 big teams in that conference this year. They both have another big series this week, back-to-back after it. The thing is, I don't know what to expect from either team because they are so inconsistent across the board, pitching and offense, it seems to be. This is really hypocritical considering everything I've said on this episode, but it would be really easy for me to pick East Carolina because they're playing in the jungle and home team in these kind of situations, especially when you have that kind of home field advantage in a mid-major environment. It's huge. But I am going to take Charlotte, actually. I believe in that team as a whole better. Ethan Norby has started to come back around for East Carolina. But, I mean, Eddie Copper for Charlotte's been really good on Fridays, too. Drew Munn's been solid on Saturdays. They have a really good reliever in Joseph Taylor. I think they can take advantage of this ECU offense, which no player with more than 5 plate appearances, so the bar is super low. No player with more than 5 plate appearances has an OPS over 1,000. Not one. I am being a little nitpicky here because there are 3 guys with an OPS over 950. But, look, there's no 1 dots anywhere. And there's been consistent inconsistency. How about that? There's been consistent inconsistency from the East Carolina offense, and I think it might stay that way this week.
Very interesting. I think you make a great point. Jake, going to go to you, man. A couple of your beloved mid-majors are going to punch each other in the face this weekend. Who do you like better to come away with less bruises?
So I'm glad Josh brought up about how Eddie Copper's been doing. He's got a 2.45 ERA and 7 starts, and that Friday matchup with him and Ethan Norby is going to be awesome. But like Josh was talking about for Charlotte and that offense, they got like 8 of their top 9 like at bat getters are hitting over 300 with like Dylan Koontz, Cody Gunderson, Todd Hudson all hitting for over 1,000 OPS. For ECU, they still have their guys like Braden Burris, Kobe Wallace coming off a pretty big weekend. But for my pick, I'm going to go Charlotte. I like the offense. I like the offense a little bit better. They hit for more power, higher average. They've scored more runs in less games than what ECU's played in. I just think that obviously Norby's going to give ECU a chance in the Friday game, but I think the offense of Charlotte can outlast the rest of what they have on the pitching side.
Very good. JB, East Carolina currently without a selection on the board. We know that you like teams that end in Carolina. East Carolina, not a state. Curious if you're going to go with them or if you're going to keep the love for Charlotte and keep it in North Carolina.
Yeah, well, sadly, I don't think that's going to happen as much as it pains me. As we talked about the Tide, East Carolina is like my version of the Tide when it comes to baseball. I mean, it's just despicable, but you learn to kind of not bet against the jungle in a sense at some point. And, especially with Sean Jenkins out there in the pen, I mean, that dude's been a weapon for them. The starting pitching has been good enough. And just the way they are, exactly when you think they're out of it, they are not. They will find a way to scratch and claw and get back into it. And that Charlotte team, nothing against them. I've seen them quit over the years multiple times in a lot of games we played against them. So I just don't think they're on the level that East Carolina is with that. I'm going to use the word grit. I don't think they got that grit that East Carolina's got. So I'm going to take the Pirates.
You used the word I was going to use, grit. I'll use scrappy then. How about scrappy? And especially like you said, man, in the jungle, it's difficult to go against ECU, against an opponent that I think they can use that home field advantage to make up gaps in their offense specifically. I think the pitching is pretty handily, and that's a mean thing to say because Charlotte does have talented pitchers. I like ECU's pitching better, particularly in jungle. So I will take ECU in a split, but as Josh alluded to a minute ago, this is a great, and matter of fact, an excellent mid-major selection we made here. So it's going to be a good one. I'm glad we split it because that's two teams that deserve more love than we've given them lately. Boston College, North Carolina, JB. Walk us through what you're thinking here because these are two teams who have been on the upward climb. I think it was you Sunday who said we're learning something about bird ball. But I don't know that you're going to take bird ball over UNC, will you?
No, not a chance. There's just no way that was going to happen. But a lot of respect to them. They played great lately. They're one of the most popular teams in the country right now. Honestly, one of the hottest names in the country is Boston College in baseball. Just because of that series, everybody's kind of taking notice of what they put up this season. Sadly, I don't think it stands here at home, and there's no way I would allow myself to pick them over the Tar Heels. So I definitely think it's the Tar Heels all the way. They're coming off of another impressive series win at Notre Dame. That's something to laugh at after Clemson got walloped by them the weekend prior. So I definitely think it's Carolina all the way this weekend.
Outstanding verb, walloped. Josh, we're going to go to you. We know that your family really loves the University of North Carolina. I'm curious if you're going to roll with your family and this school that you have very little tie to, or if you're going to take the bird ball.
Josh, blink twice. Blink twice if it's okay for you to take them.
Who you got, Josh?
I was waiting for you to find a way to work in there the joke of me not being a Carolina fan at heart, but you got it in there. I knew you would. I will be taking Carolina. I mean, this series I feel like just had to be talked about because it was like it had to be on here because it is, at the end of the day, a ranked matchup. Bird ball is getting respect across the country. I mean, they've won 10 of their last 11, but Carolina's won 13 of their last 14. So if one team's hot, the other's hotter. North Carolina's pitching looked awesome. Before the Notre Dame series, it kind of looked a little rough. But in general this year, it's just been awesome. Jason DeCaro, Ryan Lynch, Friday, Saturday guys, Kaden Glauber out of the bullpen. Folger Boa has been a little rough, a little, volatile on Sundays. But I think he can still outlast, I don't think it's going to matter at that point. Brady Miller on Sundays has been really good for Boston College with a sub-1 ERA. Guys only batting 137 against him. That could be a really good spot for Boston College to take a game if they haven't already lost, the two prior games. So if it's a rubber match going into Sunday, watch out. They're actually could. Or is this a Thursday to Saturday series or is it Friday Sunday?
Friday to Sunday.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. If going into Sunday, if it's a rubber match, like genuinely look out. Boston College could pull this off. but I still trust Carolina's offense a little bit more, and all those transfers that have been clicking the entire year. Paulson, Schaffner, Winslow, I trust them to carry the load a little bit more.
Actually, no, you're right. You're right. It's Thursday to Saturday. You're right.
It is?
My bad.
Okay.
My bad.
I know there's a lot of them this week that are like half are, half aren't.
Yeah.
I get confused.
I got mixed up because Friday's firework night, so I thought it was a little deal, but no, Thursday, Saturday.
We're celebrating the birth of our risen Savior on Sunday, so I imagine there will be very little baseball.
Yeah.
USC UCLA is on Sunday though, so
that's true. That's a good
California, progressive state, California.
Unreal.
Jake, we've got 2 UNC fans taking UNC thus far. I'm curious, are you going to take Boston College, or are we going to have another threat for a late sweep here in Pick'em?
Listen, so I wish I would have realized this earlier, but going back to just our Pick'em game, I'm 1 game behind Josh in the standings for second place, and so far me and him have made every single same pick this episode.
I like where this is going.
I wish I would have noticed this earlier, because I probably would have went somewhere else earlier, but for the sake of the game and for the sake of me wanting to get tied for second place, I'm going to pick Boston College. And I would defend the pick. I know we're going a little bit long, but I would like to defend this pick.
Please. This is good.
AJ Colarusso and Tyler Mudd are dudes on that pitching staff. They are good. This is not like a slouch Boston College team. They're 2 legit starting pitchers. Brady Miller ain't too shabby either. He had like the best start of the 3 last weekend. On the offensive side, Nick Wang, Julio Solier, I hope I said that name right, Ty Manolfi, and Jack Toomey. That's a dangerous top 4 in that batting order. They've all put up good numbers. They're all hot right now. I don't think the series is going to be as one-sided as I'm assuming that Drew will probably go North Carolina here as well. I don't think this is going to be just a one-sided series, but I'm going to go Boston College. I want to get those points there. I don't think that this is going to be an easy one for North Carolina either.
I don't know. Drew's got that bird ball look in his eye right now. He's got that look in his eye that I think it's going to be there.
Dude, Jake, so you made good points. You did. I mean, like you said, this is not a slouch team. Boston College has got some talent. Talent offensively, talent on pitching. So let's roll. I'll take BC. Wow. We'll do it.
I knew it.
We'll do it. We'll make this graphic a little more interesting. I can't leave my boy Jake out all on his own out in the cold. Bird ball it is. We'll see what goes down on Chapel.
Josh is finally back on the good side this weekend. He left Southern Miss to come back to the good guys, and he's ready to rock.
I'll be honest. I was already before coming on here, I got to start to put together the graphic a little bit, so I didn't have as much to do afterwards. And I went ahead and put 4 logos all the way down it for 2 different series. UCLA, USC. I was correct about that. And then this one, and it's 2 and 2. So boy, was I wrong.
We had to make it fun, and I'm proud of us for doing that. And because we went a little long, let's keep this to just a pick and move on. There's another series I've got my eye on this weekend. We've talked about Josh's favorite team. We've talked about JB's favorite team, but we have not talked about Jake and I's favorite team. Knoxville's going to be rocking this weekend, guys. They have got LS who? Who do we pick, Josh? Unofficial, off the ballot. Who do we pick?
I don't know. Both these teams stink right now.
Go. Dock the pay. Dock the pay. Gosh, I'll go Tennessee, I guess. These are the 2 defending, or the last 3 national champions, technically, so it's a high-stakes series, but I'll trust the home atmosphere. I don't really trust either team in general, though.
JB?
Yeah, I'm going to rock with the orange, too. I don't want to get my pay dock this week, so, let's go Tennessee.
It's an easy thing to do. I mean, you just say the word Tennessee and then be like, hey, it was unofficial. Jake, any thoughts? What does Tennessee need to do this weekend?
Well, what they need to do, I guess they need to. I guess they need to hit. But
hit the ball was
go
my
Vols.
answer. Yeah,
go Vols.
GBO, VFL, LFG all day long. Thank you, and you're welcome. Let's see it this weekend. All right, guys, a great episode. We've had a lot of fun, talked about a lot of great series, and we have got a pick'em graphic for the ages. Lots of good stuff on that. We got a couple of sweeps, but there's some interesting stuff as well. Going to be an interesting weekend of baseball leading into Easter Sunday. But while we get ready for our next episodes, while we get ready for this weekend, I want to tell you where you can find us. And where you can find all of us is at prospectslive.com. Membership start as low as $7 a month for all of the great content. So that's going to be rankings and lists, all kinds of tools for your dynasty team, for your card hobby, for college baseball, of course, for watching for the MLB draft, with the players and reports and things for your favorite team. If you want to get a Chris Rembert report, we've got it. If you want to see a Ryan Lynch report, we've got it. If you want to see a Tegan Coons or a Henry Ford report, we got it at prospectslive.com. Jake, tell the fine folks at home where they can find you between our episodes and what you're working on, man.
You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Barge. So last week I had to take kind of a week off of my mid-major top 30. Crazy busy. We had some scheduling stuff moved around with Arcadia, a lot of games being switched around and everything. But by the time this episode comes out, I'll probably have the newest rankings out. So I hope you guys enjoy that. There'll be a 2-week update. And besides that, I'm trying to get out to games this weekend. But I will have a Live Looks article coming. I've got the video done for it, and I just got to get the words put on the article for us, but I will have that coming out soon as well.
Let's go. Gonna be awesome. JB, where can they find you between our episodes, sir? What are you working on?
Yes, at JB_Sebastiano on Twitter. Right now, probably just gonna have a couple more little live look ideas in there. Somewhere in there, probably a lot of stuff. Probably we'll get some stuff going on Twitter actually with some video I've gotten recently. So yeah, fun stuff. That'll be it.
Going to be great. Looking forward to it. And Mr. Catlett, where can the folks find you in between? Well, better question. Yeah. What are you working on? Then we'll get into where they can find you because I have another question for you.
Well, I'm working on same stuff like usual, bracketology, prospects list, write-ups for our college top, what are we doing next? 200? Yeah. And I mean, I put out my college top 50 prospects list on Twitter yesterday. It's my biggest Twitter post ever. I think 47,000 people saw it. And I got a follow from Logan Hughes. I got a repost from him and his mom. Alex Hernandez show a little love. But I mean, I think LSU fans want me to kill myself at this point. So there's that. West Virginia fans aren't happy with me either. You get the wrath. My DMs and my comments, I got the wrath of fan bases who are just delusional to no end.
Wow. Okay. I was gonna give you a minute to riff on those people, but on your responses. But I'll give you instead 30 seconds. Go.
Oh, geez. All right. West Virginia fans, Max Yell and Gavin Kelly are not top 50 prospects. I'll tell you that much. And Miles Bailey, look, a lot of people have him ranked highly. Could be a first-round prospect. He's putting up great numbers. He is not. I mean, it may be top 50 we can get there, but he is not like a first-round prospect. There's too much swing and miss still.
10.
JB agrees with it. Jake Brown, that one could be on me. He could be in the top 50. He's just on the outside for me. I get the
3,
vision, but LSU,
2,
it's not that deep. I promise.
30 seconds. Good job. All right. Well done. If you're interested in following me between our episodes, you may do so on the Twitter machine, on Instagram, on Blue Sky, at Drew is okay. I have been working on the Mississippi State Southern Miss live looks that I promised you all. We are working on the top 200, as alluded to. The daily sheet continues to roll right along. I get to write about Landon Hairston all the time, who, as we learned this week on Twitter, not eligible for the 2026 draft, but pretty good. Also, Max Shell is a top 50 college prospect, Josh. We all know that. Anyway, that's going to do it. That's going to do it for this week's episode of College Baseball Now. I want to remind you all, be nice to yourself, be nice to each other. Have a wonderful, wonderful Easter, and we will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.